The cameras were meant to stay locked on the practice court, capturing what should have been nothing more than a routine warm-up session ahead of Alex Eala's Miami Open run. But in an instant, everything changed. What unfolded next sent shockwaves through Hard Rock Stadium and left every single person watching completely stunned. In a moment that had nothing to do with tennis and everything to do with raw human emotion, the 20-year-old Filipino sensation did something no player had ever done before on a stage this big. Security froze in place, unsure how to react. Tournament officials exchanged puzzled, almost disbelieving looks, and the thousands of fans who had gathered just to watch her practice suddenly realized they were witnessing something far bigger, something that would explode across the internet within hours. The cameras didn't miss a second. And what they captured was so unexpected, so genuine, so unmistakably Alex Eala, that even the WTA is still trying to fully understand what happened. March 17, 2026. Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens was already alive with energy that morning, but the atmosphere hit an entirely different level the moment Alex Eala stepped onto Court 5 for her scheduled warm-up. Filipino fans had been gathering for hours, filling the space with pride, wrapped in flags, wearing custom jerseys, and holding up signs that read Laban Alex and Tagalog for Fight Alex. The crowd overflowed into nearby walkways, forcing security to form a narrow corridor just so Eala could make her way to the court. At first, everything that followed felt completely routine. Eala began rallying with her hitting partner, dialing in her ground strokes, sharpening her footwork, going through the standard pre-tournament rhythm. But there was something different in the air. The 20-year-old star, ranked number 29 in the world and carrying the pressure of defending 390 ranking points, looked unusually at ease, almost playful in her movements. And then, in the middle of it all, something unexpected happened. Right in the middle of a rally, Eala suddenly stopped. She signaled to her hitting partner, then jogged toward the side of the court, locking her attention on a small section of the crowd. There stood a young girl, no older than 7 or 8, holding a handmade sign that read, "Alex, you're my hero," written in slightly shaky, uneven letters. Security quickly stepped in, ready to manage the situation, but Eala gently waved them away. She knelt down to meet the girl at eye level and spent nearly 2 full minutes talking with her. Then, in a moment that left everyone around completely stunned, Eala reached into her bag and pulled out one of her practice rackets, and without hesitation, she placed one directly into the child's hands. The reaction was instant. The crowd erupted with pure emotion, and suddenly phones were everywhere, capturing every second of the moment. The girl's mother broke down in tears, overwhelmed, while Eala, wearing that same calm signature smile, simply turned and walked back onto the court as if nothing extraordinary had just happened. But the cameras never stopped rolling, and within hours, the clip was everywhere. The video raced across social media at incredible speed, spreading like wildfire. By the evening, it had already racked up millions of views across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Alex Eala just did something no tennis player has ever done. One viral post read, paired with the now iconic footage of the racket being handed over. Gave away her practice racket to a young fan mid-session. This is why she's different. The reactions poured in from all over the world. Filipino fans embraced the moment as a powerful reflection of Eala's true character, while tennis fans from other countries were amazed by how spontaneous and genuine the gesture felt. Even her competitors couldn't ignore it, they noticed. But what made this moment truly special went far beyond a simple act of kindness. It became a powerful reminder of why Eala has grown into one of the most beloved figures in women's tennis, not because of rankings or stats, but because of who she is at her core. "I always make it a point to be grateful," Eala has said time and time again. "Coming from where I come from, I've seen real poverty. I've seen real struggle. Even though I haven't lived through it personally, I understand it, and I value what I have. And that mindset shows up in moments like this, moments that can't be planned, can't be staged, and can't be recreated. Manufactured. These are the kinds of moments that expose true character in a way no press conference ever could." The young girl, later identified as Maria, had made the trip from Orlando with her family for one simple reason: to watch Eala practice. They couldn't afford tickets to the actual matches, so they arrived early, hoping they might catch even a distant glimpse of their hero through the fence. What they experienced instead was something far greater than they ever expected. "I told my daughter, maybe we'll just see her from far away," Maria's mother shared with a local news outlet afterward, her voice still filled with emotion. "I never imagined she would come over to us. I never imagined she would give her racket." She paused, overwhelmed. My daughter will remember this for the rest of her life. And truthfully, so will everyone who saw the footage, because in that unforgettable moment, Alex Eala wasn't just a tennis player. She became something much rarer, a true, genuine hero. And that unforgettable racket giveaway wasn't even Aya's only surprising moment in Miami. Just days earlier, she had a special reunion with another Filipino icon, Alex Spoelstra, the head coach of the Miami Heat. The two connected ahead of the Miami Open, and the interaction was captured in a video shared by the Heat organization itself. Just two powerhouses representing the Philippines at the highest level, the caption proudly read. In the video, Aya and Spoelstra share a warm embrace, both smiling from ear to ear. Spoelstra, who has openly celebrated his Filipino roots and made history as the first Asian-American head coach to win an NBA championship, presented Aya with a customized Heat jersey. Their connection actually goes back to 2026, when Aya attended a Heat game that marked Spoelstra's 700th career coaching victory. Now, 2 years later, they reunited again, this time as two of the most recognized Filipino figures in global sports. For Eala, the moment carried a deeper meaning far beyond just a photo. Opportunity for Eala, Alex Spoelstra represents what's truly possible for Filipinos competing in American sports, a pathway that stretches from heritage to excellence, from representation to real achievement. He's an inspiration, Eala said after their meeting. To see someone with Filipino roots succeed at the highest level in American sports, it means so much. It shows what's possible. The timing of it all couldn't have been more meaningful. Just days before the start of her Miami Open campaign, Eala was reminded that her journey is about more than just tennis. It's about belonging to something greater, a community, a diaspora, a family spread across oceans yet united by pride in their shared identity. And when she stepped onto that practice court days later, surrounded by a sea of Filipino flags and chants of Laban Alex, that connection was impossible to ignore. The racket giveaway may have felt spontaneous in the moment, but in truth it was almost inevitable because Alex Eala understands, perhaps better than any athlete of her generation, that her success goes far beyond herself. It carries the hopes of every Filipino who sees their own story reflected in her eyes. But beyond the emotional highs, the viral moments, and the overwhelming support, there's another side waiting. A much tougher reality. Alex Eala arrives in Miami, this time as a completely different competitor from the wide-eyed wild card who first showed up in 2025. She now holds the world number 29 ranking, the highest of her career. She's seeded 31st in the tournament, earning herself a first-round bye. But with that elevation comes a new kind of weight. Real, relentless pressure. Eala is defending a massive 190 ranking points from her unforgettable semi-final run in 2025, points that will disappear the moment the tournament begins. A single early loss could send her ranking crashing back down into the 50 to 60 range where she started the year. Eala faces a tall order in retaining ranking points at the Miami Open, the headlines caution. Her path is brutal. After her first-round bye, she'll be forced into a clash with either Laura Segund or Petra Marino in the round of 64. If she gets through that, things escalate quickly, because a potential third-round showdown with world number 3 Iga Swiatek is looming. It would be a rematch of their 2025 quarterfinal, where Eala shocked the tennis world by beating the Polish star 6-7, 7-5. Swiatek had later answered that loss with a win a month afterward at the Madrid Open, but the sting of that Miami defeat still hasn't fully faded. And now with the Polish star also competing under heightened attention after reportedly being subjected to verbal abuse from a disruptive fan last year, she will arrive with one clear goal: revenge. Even if Eala manages to survive that battle, the road only gets steeper. In the fourth round, she could face either Karolina Muchova or Clara Tolson, followed by a potential quarterfinal clash with Victoria Mboko or Mira Andrea. And waiting in the semi-finals? Either Coco Gauff or Amanda Anisimova. It's a true gauntlet in every sense of the word. But despite all of that, Eala isn't getting lost in the draw sheets or rankings. Miami last year was a beautiful time for me, and it was the start of all of this, she said after Indian Wells. Since then, I've achieved a lot and I've grown a lot as well. I've had so many good matches, tough losses, and so much experience, and that has helped me build confidence, self-esteem, she added. And I know that I belong here. And while the viral clip showed Alex Eala giving away her racket, what it didn't capture was everything that came after. Once the session officially ended, after the autographs, the selfies and the endless stream of photos, Eala didn't leave right away. She stayed behind for nearly 45 minutes. Even when security tried to guide her off court, and tournament officials signaled that schedules needed to move on, she simply waved them away, just like she had earlier with the young fan. Because she understood something that often gets lost in the structure of professional sport. These fans aren't just spectators, they're family. When players come from countries like the Philippines, the stadium feels like a Davis Cup venue, veteran referee Hani El Kafif once observed during Ella's Dubai run. People are cheering for their country, not just for one player. And that's exactly what makes Alex Eala's connection so powerful. They aren't just cheering for her path is brutal. After her first round bye, she'll be forced into a clash with either Laura Segund or Petra Marino in the round of 64. If she gets through that, things escalate almost immediately because a potential third-round showdown with world number 3 Iga Swiatek is already looming large. It would be a rematch of their unforgettable 2025 quarterfinal, where Ella stunned the tennis world by taking down the Polish star 67-5. Swiatek eventually responded with a win a month later at the Madrid Open, but the sting of that Miami loss has never fully disappeared. And now with the Polish star also competing under increased scrutiny after reportedly being targeted by verbal abuse from a disruptive fan last year, she will arrive in this matchup with one clear mission: revenge. Even if Ella survives that storm, the path only becomes even more unforgiving. In the fourth round, she could run into either Karolina Muchova or Klara Tolson. And after that, a potential quarterfinal battle with Victoria Mboko or Mira Andrea. And if she reaches the semi-finals, the challenge only gets heavier, with either Coco Gauff or Amanda Anisimova waiting. It is, by every definition, a brutal gauntlet. But even with all of that pressure building around her, Ella refuses to get consumed by draws, numbers, or projections. Miami last year was a beautiful time for me, and it was the start of all of this, she said after Indian Wells. Since then, I've achieved a lot and I've grown a lot as well. I've had so many good matches